My friends, good day. Many of you are writing to me to ask what Macron is going to do, what's next in your opinion. So listen, this man has more than one trick up his sleeve, as they say. I myself, not having a crystal ball, can't tell you for sure what he's going to do, but I can tell you roughly what's starting to take shape. So I follow him on Twitter. I check a bit what he posts. He posts regularly. And already, as a major aside, I noticed that he uses ChatGPT. Often these tweets are generated by ChatGPT, which is a very bad habit for a head of state. Why? Because he is in an extremely sensitive position. If he is asking ChatGPT questions about running the country to write things about Russia, Ukraine, Germany, or anything else, it's something that makes me extremely nervous. Because for what he is paid, we really expect the decisions to come from him as much as possible. And also, there's one thing, today's AIs are American AIs. There you go. Europe is the continent with the most regulations regarding artificial intelligence, but it's not a continent that has credible artificial intelligence. So he's using American AIs. So most likely the Americans know it's his account. You can imagine that their intelligence services aren't sleeping. They know who the important figures are in the world, the decision makers who use American AIs. And of course, they can easily slip them some suggestions. So that makes me extremely nervous about the sovereignty of the decisions made by Macron. Now, let's get back to his story. There's an escalation. There's more and more talk about a world war. Well, world war. Allow me, as an African, maybe I'll be a bit blunt, right? But if you go to many places in Africa, we don't consider the Second World War as a world war. Just because Westerners are fighting doesn't mean the whole world is fighting. No, there were plenty of places that watched that on television, or rather listened to it on the radio. Television wasn't really widespread back then. So what I'm trying to say is that there are people who say they might end up starting a world war, if you will, with Russia, because right now what we're seeing is that Europe, Christian do it, is getting ready for war. While in the United States, with Trump, they're trying to achieve peace. Because, well, you know, wars happen, but they also end. And so what Trump is trying to do is bring everyone together around a table and try to reach an agreement. Well, an agreement where people have to make concessions. People aren't completely 100% happy, but still, wars generally, they always have a big loser, which is the civilian population. That's clear. I mean, it's almost, if you look at, I don't know, World War II, it's almost like you want to say, if there's a war, I'd rather join the army because I have less chance of dying than if I stay a civilian. It's pretty crazy, but the statistics are clear. So I see that leading the way, we have France, the United Kingdom, and Germany, who absolutely want a war. And I can tell you one thing, I think that even if tomorrow Zelensky and Putin meet and shake hands, and in the end they say to each other, we got into a fight, it wasn't worth all this, we sign peace agreements, whatever, and we restore our relations, which has happened in the past after many wars. Look at Germany, France, and then, well, after World War II, you already had the Franco-German partnership. So tomorrow you could have the Russian-Ukrainian partnership, you know? So let's imagine that happens. I think that despite everything, France, Germany, and the United Kingdom will want to go to Dakar. That's the story of Ukraine. It's just a pretext because you have to know that this country is not part of the European Union, not part of NATO. So really, it is being used as a tool, just like Afghanistan was used, or South Vietnam, or Iraq, or other countries that have been used as tools for much bigger plans than that. So it could trigger a war and then afterwards say, the rest he could. I'm not saying that's what he's going to do, but potentially he could. In fact, in the coming months, an important decision will have to be made. Why? Because at the rate at which the Ukrainian army is losing its soldiers, there will come a time when there won't be any left. So once they've sent the women and the elderly and all that, a decision will have to be made. What does a decision mean? It means either stopping this war because there is no one left willing to fight, there is nothing, no one at hand. It means we've gone ahead, we've pushed support for the Ukrainian war. Because we're not supporting Ukraine, we're supporting the war in Ukraine, which is different. It means we're pushing these people to go die in a war they can never win. We give them weapons, send them to the front, and just watch, counting the dead. And then, when there are too many deaths, we come out with a well-crafted statement. We ask ChatGPT, let's write a tweet against Russia, and so on. You see, so there's a lot of cynicism there. There will come a time when these three countries, this trio I'm talking about, will have to make a decision. Either they give up, which means we stop all this, or they'll have to send troops on the ground, or they'll have to send French, German, and British troops. Well, the British, I mean, they're so Russophobic that they're eager to fight. There's no room on this planet for a country called Russia and another called the United Kingdom. Only one can exist. So, well, we'll see how it goes. For the United Kingdom, a war against Russia would allow them to achieve climate goals, I think, quite quickly. Potentially, we could have a microsecond. We could have climate goals that are fully achieved for probably 10,000 years. Why not? It's in their interest from that angle. The Germans, well, they want revenge. Stalingrad, a number of battles. They still have a chip on their shoulder about those. So maybe they want another to try again. It's possible. France, they elected him twice. I mean, it's not an accident. The first time you could say they didn't know all that. But well, the second time, it's still, yes, it's still, we signed up for the same guy again. So France wants it too. Is in this system probably to hide a bankruptcy. That is, France is heading towards bankruptcy. The United Kingdom too towards bankruptcy. So this has to be hidden by a full-scale war. Now, could this potentially allow Macron to stay in power? Why not? Why not? Because let's imagine a war breaks out in 2026, then the elections are coming up, and we'll say, listen, we need continuity of the Republic. We need stability in our institutions. The one who best embodies that is Macron. And then one day or another, he'll leave power. But in the meantime, he's the leader. That's a possibility. That's what he did. Now, I'm not really a supporter of that theory. It's a theory. We'll see what happens. We don't know. I don't really buy it. Why? Because in the Western world, it's not Egypt either. He's not going to pull a Mubarak on us. Because even if he does that, he won't stay in power for the next 30 years. No, he'll be forced to step down. Now, even if he delays the elections, what will he gain? 6 months, 9 months, 18 months. He won't last. He won't get away with it. He's not going to stay until he's an invalid in a wheelchair. And when they bring him out, they say it's President Macron. So, Trump. It's a serious topic, though. I mean, you're not here to joke around. You see what I mean? I'm going to cut that out in editing. So, as I was saying, in my opinion, this plan isn't very credible. Okay, it's not very credible. I think the best plan, I'm not in his head, but if I were in his place, here's how I would have done it. Remember the elections? There was Obama, right? Obama then served 2 terms. After that, there was Biden, but a lot of people consider Biden as Obama's 3rd term. By the way, there almost was a 4th. Imagine if Kamala Harris had won the election. Well, that would have been Obama's 4th term. Actually, that's how it works in the United States and in France too, by the way. It works by clans. They're clans. In Russia, it's the same thing. Remember, Putin was president. Then he put Medvedev in. The constitution didn't allow him to run again. So he put Medvedev in, who became president. Then he came back after him. You see what I mean? So it's always, no matter the country, we're always more in a clan logic than in a democratic logic. Everything we call democracy is simply a show. It's just a play happening before our eyes. There is no democracy. I mean, whether it's in France or Egypt or Russia or the United States, it's the same mechanisms, except that some countries play the game better than others. For example, let's say the United States plays the democracy game better. You see, I mean, the theater, it's like when you turn on the TV and look for a movie. There are good movies and there are bad ones. It's the same. Democracy is a movie. There are good movies where, well, you can grab some popcorn and watch the movie and maybe you believe in it, right? And there are other movies where you just can't get into it, get into the story, like Egypt. Democracy in Egypt, well, they're bad. So I was saying that the situation we're in will probably make it more advantageous for Macron to organize elections in 2027. Pick a guy who weighs 45 kilos. Well, the next president, I can already tell you he weighs 45 kilos. I don't know his name, but 45 kilos. Okay, there you go. There you go. I don't think he has any children. He has zero children. I think he's a guy, well, although these days we don't really know much anymore, do we? These things. So everything seems a bit. He's, well, a guy about whom there are some doubts about his general orientation, right? As they say. So we more or less know what's going to happen. He's going to send a guy who weighs 45 kilos who's going to show up. And then the French are going to vote for him. And let me tell you something. I'll even predict something else for you. Now, I'm starting to have, you see, after talking so much about a crystal ball, now I'm starting to have a crystal ball. Once the French elect him and he takes office, they'll immediately say, that's not my president. That's what's terrible about the French. We have to call for his removal or resignation. It's going to be something. So we'll call him Mr. So-and-so. So it'll be President so-and-so. You'll hear, that's not my president. You'll hear calls for so-and-so's removal, and you'll hear calls for so-and-so's resignation. I'm telling you, that's exactly what will happen. When it's time, once he finishes his 5-year term and then runs again, you want to know, they'll vote for him again. I mean, French politics is starting to become something. We're at the borders of reality. We're entering the fifth dimension. We're not in something logical anymore. I mean, be careful. The more logic you put into it, the more you try to analyze it with a rational approach and all that, the more you're going to get lost. I mean, just stop. I'll stop you right there. It was rational. You won't understand anything. Well, you will understand. Use the rational method. When you get results, you do the opposite. And from there, you're much closer to reality than with your initial rational method. That's it. That's what I can tell you today. So Macron, in my opinion, he's going to install a what do you call it? A puppet. 45 kilos. Well, 45 kilos is light, which maybe makes it easier to control it with strings. Lately, I haven't been very present on YouTube and social media, if you've noticed. I'm writing a book. I'll tell you right away what it's about, because I was provoked. That's it. I was provoked. I decided to respond. Do you know this book? We Never Walked on the Moon. It's a book that exposes a government lie, a lie dating back to the Cold War era. We never walked on the moon. For anyone listening to this video, if you watched it, the Apollo hoax happened. And indeed, this book raised a lot of questions. Completely legitimate questions, by the way. So what I'm doing, I'm writing volume 2. It's not a second edition, it's volume 2. It's the sequel. The sequel is to answer a number of questions and to go even deeper into certain details. And honestly, if you read volume 2 and volume 1 and volume 2 and you still believe in this deception, then honestly, you're ready to believe just about anything. There you go, my friends. Thank you for watching this video up to this point. We'll see each other in the next one, and take care. I'll say, as long as the French keep voting for people from Macron's circle, as long as they keep being Europhiles, right? Eurosceptics in private, Europhiles collectively, it's very difficult to do anything for them. We can only regret, we can only watch the collapse right in front of us, the train wreck that's coming in slow motion. But there's no way, we really have to push these people to take their destiny into their own hands once and for all. See you very soon. Thank you.